What's up, guys? Node Investor here. We ready to do this? All right. A lot of people coming in on the chats. Good to see all the questions. Good to see the comments. Let's see what we got going today. So here's my plan. My plan is to just walk through some of the cryptocurrency market cap list here. We'll go through some of the majors, and then I'm seeing a lot of questions and comments in the chat for specific requests. So we'll definitely go through some of those. Let's see what we got so far here. We've got cover KMD. We'll talk that one. Cover Pivx. Yeah, Pivx. See what else we have here. Metal. Okay, we'll look at metal. All right. Very cool. Recovered the phone. Yeah, unfortunately. Turns out ocean water and iPhones don't mix very well. And I'm usually really good about taking care of my phones. And that was just one of those whoops. And I realized it, and the phone was dead. So it's all good. Got a new phone, got an upgrade. So we'll get going here. Gonna just give it another couple of minutes, let some folks join. But man, how you guys liking these markets today? Not bad at all. All right. Iota, man, Iota. Quantum. iPhone 8s. No, unfortunately, not yet. You know, I was holding out for the iPhone 8s, and then my phone died. So I'm going to have to live with this one for a while and then upgrade to the 8. Iota, AMG. Any news on the trading room? Yeah, so I've got the Slack channel all set up already. I'll be announcing that here in the coming days. I'm going to send it out in all fairness. I'm going to send it out to the course purchasers first, and then the newsletter subscribers, and then everyone else. You made a big mistake. You sold your Neo yesterday. Oh man, you sold your Neo. Did you watch my video? I said don't sell here. You're probably going to be selling at the lows. I think that's what the lows was. Yeah, Google Auth codes. Google Auth is a pain in the behind when you get a new device. I use other things. I don't like Google Auth personally. I know that a lot of sites require them, but I use other ones. Authy's good. Link to Slack. Not yet. It's going to be an invite. All right. Appreciate all the feedback, guys. I like the comments on the videos. I like the likes. I like the likes. And even the thumbs down. You know, I've got the faithful few that just thumb down every video I post. Appreciate you guys watching too. Never sell Neo. All right, let's get to it. So let's go through the charts here. First one. You know what? I'm going to skip the big three first. I'm going to go straight to Neo. Everyone's talking Neo. Let's talk Neo. So Neo. All right, so yesterday, guys, I covered this in a video. And we were right here. Now, I had no idea Bitfinex was going to be adding Neo. Clearly, that had something to do with it. I think the volume there, another exchange. And it's about time. You know, I was like, why don't more exchanges have Neo on them? I think that's coming. Bitfinex is taking the plunge. We're going to start seeing it show up in more wallets. I think it's going to be good. So that being said, NEO. So what I was looking at here was the low I mentioned yesterday. I believe this was the low back here during the big sell-off. And I was, it was one of those buy when the blood is on the streets type of things. And, I saw NEO at $17, $18. And I said, I couldn't help myself. I bought a bunch of there. Then it had the big pop. And I sold a large portion of that. That was a pretty good, what is that, 40% pop on that from the bottom of the low. Even if you bought down here, that's 25%. So pretty good. Then it started to tighten up. Then it pulled back here. That was a break, but the volume wasn't that bad. And I started seeing this big green candle here with the volume being higher than the break there. And so that was kind of my signal that, okay, this is going to be a good low. And I mentioned that in the video yesterday, that that's the low we do not want to see get taken out, was this one. And then this one here. And sure enough, a couple hours later, we had the nice big pop to the upside. Now, if you're not in NEO, or if you sold it at the lows, what do you do now? In my opinion, I think this 10 EMA is catching up on the 4-hour chart. We're kind of flagging out here. Volume starting to dry up on the downside. So as long as this 10 EMA holds, I'm saying NEO is a go. I like it. I'm holding mine. And actually, when I saw this little pop to the upside here last night, I bought some more. I didn't think we'd see a, what was that, a 40%, I think. I got up this morning and it was up 50%. So I wasn't expecting that, but a lot of that was the news. I mean, that one bar in 4 hours was 31%. Very nice. So if you guys bought NEO at the lows, congratulations. If you held it, congratulations. I know it's not easy. And hey, I don't think it's too late to buy either. Just, you got to buy on these dips. When you buy on these big green candles to the upside, they pull back, guys. I mean, that's just the nature of crypto. There's a lot of profit taking, and look at where it stopped, right at the old resistance here. So that was, that was just expected. We saw it pull back down about 15%, not the end of the world, just normal backfilling. And so what I look for is, when you see these big pops, it's not unusual. You're going to see the resistance there. And then on the next way up, NEO is going to have a lot of resistance right around this area here. So between here and this next level up, we're going to probably see another pause there, and it's going to have to work its way back up, because this was a big break, right? So if you had a lot of people buying in here thinking this was a low and they broke, if they haven't sold it, I think they had. This is a huge washout. But if they hadn't, this is going to be their break even. So you'll see some more pause there. So long term, like I said, I'm bullish NEO. I like NEO. I'm holding it here, and I think it's, the whole news with China, the ICO, which now they're kind of saying it's not a ban, we're just going to regulate it. The news was the worst at the lows, and that's typical of cryptocurrencies and just investment markets in general. The news generally the worst at the lows here. So that's NEO. Going out to the daily charts here. Looking pretty good. Nice volume today on the daily chart. Still want to see it start getting back above these longer moving averages. But so far, looking good. All right, let's go to Bitcoin. I'm going to go to Bitfinex here. Let's see what we got. Bitcoin USD. So Bitcoin marching along. Had that nice little pause here at the 30 EMA. One thing I'm looking at on the 4-hour chart. Let me zoom in here a little bit. Do you guys see what I see here? A little bit, kind of inverted head and shoulders. It's a little deep here, but very nice. So I'm seeing on the comments, some of you guys are seeing it here. So, you're seeing this shoulder here, seeing this deep correction back up, and then right here, pulling in here. And that's very expected, right? This right here was major resistance. We broke from there, and sure enough, at that same level is where we're going to see it pause. And so if we see Bitcoin start to reclaim that $4,700 mark, that's going to be very good news. That's going to be very bullish, and we'll probably see a test of the old highs at that point. And so this is looking good as long as these moving averages start to hold. And really the level I'd be watching here is this most recent big green candle right there around 44.50. That's the level I'd be watching. So if you like Bitcoin, or if you're holding it, if it starts to break down below that 44.50, we'll probably see another leg down. I don't know if we're undercut this. I really don't think so. But on the 4-hour charts, it's looking pretty good. On the daily charts, I mean, the uptrend is still intact. I mean, there's just no question about it. It's still good. There's a lot of people calling for the top, people calling for the bubble to burst. And you know what? I just take it one day at a time. At this time, there's nothing indicating that that has happened yet. So just a normal pullback. As I mentioned in my newsletter, this was a 21% correction off of a high. This was a 19% correction. We had a 31, 32% correction back in here. It's just kind of normal action for Bitcoin. All right, let's go to the next one. Ethereum. So there's a lot of rumors on Ethereum. There's a lot of news on Ethereum. They're doing Casper. They're doing other developments and maybe ETFs. And so who knows? Ethereum, I think, is still looking good. Big volume to the breakdown side. I'd like to see it reclaim that 10 EMA. It still has not. Still looking the weakest of the big three. But it certainly has recovered nicely. I mean, looking at the lows, I mean, it was crazy. We saw Ethereum down to 260. I was like, what? I mean, I was buying it back here at 280 and I saw that big pop. And when it started to break down, I mean, I didn't think we'd get that far. That was incredible. But even from there, we're already up 25% from the lows and we're setting up. And I mentioned in my prior video, this giant base that I'm seeing put in, it's starting to put in a little bit of a handle. And now we're kind of moving to the upside again. And so I'm going to be curious to see how it starts to react. If it can get above this 10 EMA, this 250 area, really, if we start to close above that, that's going to be very good. And if we can get back there, I mean, this is going to be the big test, right? That 295, 400 range on Ethereum. If we can get above that, could be a major breakout, especially following this big base and this handle. And look at where it stopped, right at the 50-day moving average. And so that's what I'm looking at. So got to watch these big ones, because if you see a big breakout like that on Ethereum, that's just going to drive the markets higher. It's going to be good. Near term, let's zoom in a little bit. 4-hour charts. Can't complain. The downtrend's definitely broken. Looking pretty good. Moving up. Pausing here a little bit. Right in this trend. So not bad at all. The pause is seeing volume starting to decline a little bit. And so we'll see where it can go from here. It's going to just have to work a lot of this resistance out, right? So, this next little consolidation here around 350 to 360 is going to be an area to clear. Looking good on Ethereum. Let me look at the comments here. There's a lot of them coming in, so I'm going to try to keep up with you guys. OmiseGo, yep, we'll get to OmiseGo. Let me see what else we have. Neo, we covered Neo. Ooh, let's see. Huddle. Good morning from Australia. All right. That's one place I've never been. I'd like to go to Australia. Let's see what else we got here. You're a long-term investor. Good. That's good stuff. Stratis, Lisk, Waves, Bitcoin Cash. I will cover those. Yeah, let's go here. When will I do a face reveal? Yeah, who knows? Maybe one of these days. Maybe I'll you guys will see me on CNBC with Satoshi Light sitting there next to him. Yeah, I doubt that. District 0x. All right. Good evening from the Netherlands. I like that. Cool. All right. Ubik. Yeah, a lot of people asking about Ubik. We'll look at that one. Zcash, Civic, ARK. I like ARK. All right. You want to see my face? No, you don't. You guys want to see my face. I don't know. Maybe I'll just one of these days do a Satoshi and Satoshi out of here. I'm kidding, guys. All right, let's go to the next one. So let's see what we got on the list here. So we did Bitcoin, Ethereum. We'll do Bitcoin Cash, Ripple, and Litecoin next. So let's see here. Bitcoin Cash. You got to love it or you got to hate it. And sometimes be agnostic and not really care. But let's look at this here. So Bitcoin Cash, I talked about this in the video yesterday. Looked like it was coming up the right side here. Had this nice little breakouts, since pulled back, holding that 10 EMA on the 4-hour chart. I'm liking the action. The volume on the downside is declining. So if you want to trade Bitcoin Cash, if it were me, I'd be looking to buy it on these little pullbacks and not let it get below this moving average right now. That's really the area to watch. And below that, this level here, let's go to the dollar, see how that translates. So 600, that's the absolute low I'd give it. And most likely this breakout candle, because if it reverses a breakout, that far, then that's kind of a failed breakout. So, 625-ish if you want to be safe on that. But so far, it's looking good. Volume's coming in on the right side. Next level of resistance. Let me see what we got here. The breakout to me was this 360 area. So once it cleared that, that looks good. Next level above that, this is going to be a big test right here. There was a lot of sellers showed up there, and that's around 738, 740. And so that's kind of my next target. We almost got there today and kind of just pulling back now. So we'll see if we can get that. That's the next target. If we can clear that, then I think that's going to be a major resistance point, and then we'll probably be testing the highs, the high 800s, if we can get above that. So from this point up, you're looking at first level resistance, only 10% above. That's not that much in crypto world. Next level up, right? 24 to 30% above that. That would be a decent trade. I do expect we'd see a little bit of a pause at that point of the old highs, and it's gonna have to figure out what it wants to do from there. So Bitcoin Cash, potentially a trade. Myself personally, definitely not a long-term hold. I mean, I use it as a trading vehicle from time to time. But if I'm going to hold Bitcoin, it's going to be Bitcoin, not Bitcoin Cash. But I know a lot of you guys would disagree. Some of you guys think it's a good value play, undervalued, going to replace Bitcoin long term. I doubt it. Let's see here. Ripple. So moving on to Ripple. So Ripple had, let's zoom out. Ripple had that big long consolidation. Let me go to something else here. Let's go to Poloniex. Ripple, Poloniex USD. Let's see what we got here. So we had that big consolidation, bottomed in here, multiple lows, pretty good confirmation that that was the low right there around 14, 15 cents. And then we had the big run up a couple weeks back. Since then, it hasn't really done a whole lot. I've been consolidating that big run up, but haven't really seen a lot of follow through per se. It's been a good trade back and forth. I mean, the move from the top to the bottom was, 30% and then back up, and, during the little crash back down. So kind of flagging out right here. Can't complain. I'm not in Ripple. I was trading it a little bit during this little run up, but it's not really a longer term hold in my portfolio right now. But definitely, I believe that was a low on Ripple. That 16, 17 cent. I mean, that was the low. Just see what we do from here. On the upside, if I'm looking at Ripple, the near term, it's going to be on a closing basis, just this recent resistance around 26 cents or so, and then the old resistance here around that 30 to 32 cent mark. Get above that, going to be a nice run for Ripple. But it's a big cap. There's a lot of supply, and I don't know if we're going to see the same kind of run we saw back here where it was just going up exponentially. But Ripple, I believe, is putting a good low, and looks like it might be setting up here. So not too bad. Let's go to Litecoin. Litecoin. You know what? I'm going to pull Litecoin on the GDAX. Let's see what that looks like here. So Litecoin, of the big three, has been probably my favorite in a recent past. And so let's do a little lesson here. I was talking Litecoin back here when it was setting up, right? We saw this little bit of a base. That first resistance was, that 47. I said, I'd like to see it clear 50. And then above that, this 52. And it pretty much did that all in one shot. So you saw that big candle to the right there. And here's the lesson on this one. There was the big pop. I said, that's it. That's a good breakout. And then sure enough, like they often do, it started to pull back, right? And this was 1, 2, 3 days of pullback. But in crypto world, that felt like forever. Everything was moving. Things were going up. And I started getting questions. Is it failed? Is it too late? Should I get out? There was a lot of kind of panicky, out there. And I said, guys, as long as it doesn't break this, the breakout point, it was pulling right back to it, you're fine, right? In fact, I was thinking this is a good buy opportunity because, we were up to $55 at one point, and here we are back to 51. As long as it doesn't break that and the volume was coming down on every day, that's very typical, guys. So when you see these big pops, it's easy to get excited and want to jump on those. You can keep a tight stop, but if you start to see this pullback, you don't necessarily need to panic, right? Just have your level where you're saying, okay, this is the level. I'm going to let it go absolute low. And if it drops below that, I'll get out. And let's zoom in a little bit to see what it did at those levels. So you can see here, look at that. Look where it hit. pulled back once, went back up, pulled back again, almost to the penny, right? Back up, and then one final time, almost to the penny again, and then boom, here we go. This was the little cryptic tweet I sent out. I just said Litecoin, and off to the races we were, and that was it, right? And that took us pretty much, you know, up. Nice little pause. This was a good secondary entry point, and then moving up. And then we had that little climactic top, which if you haven't seen my sell videos, my sell strategy videos, which was the last live streams, a couple live streams I did, this is the strategy I use, right? You see these big climactic tops after a big run up. So we went from 50 bucks all the way up to $80, and then boom, in one day, almost to $100. That's a sell signal, in my opinion. Not a long-term sell signal. So if you're holding it long-term, you know, you really don't care, but you got to bank some profits. And that was a good sell signal. So that was a good place to start taking some profits. And sure enough, we saw a little bit of a pullback, and then that culminated in some more pullback with the little mini panic we had a couple days ago. And now it's bouncing back up. So I'm still liking Litecoin. I am still in Litecoin and actually added back to my position some of the profits I took up here. Been adding some back here in the low to mid 70 range. And so far looking good on Litecoin. And let's go back to the daily. And it's just riding that 10 EMA. I mean, just holding it, looking good, looking steady. So as long as you don't start to see a break of this recent low here on, you know, let's call it $73 or so, that's going to be the level I'm watching. Any pullbacks to this 10 EMA are probably good secondary entry points on Litecoin. Let's move along here. NEM. Let's see what NEM's doing. You know, I like the project NEM. I'm kind of hoping they do better. So let's see. So NEM, let me zoom out a little bit. NEM's it's been a wild one here. Now, versus the dollar, we'll look at it here. It's definitely making new highs, and I get that. And that's, you know, because Bitcoin and all the, you know, prices going up. So if you look at the dollar chart on NEM, it's looking good. It's moving up, you know, making highs. But I look at both, right? I like the dollar chart. I look at the BTC chart too, because, you know, if you have the option, hey, should I just stay in Bitcoin or should I move into one of these other altcoins? That's what you got to look at, because if the altcoins are outperforming Bitcoin, at the end of the day, you're going to have more net Bitcoin, right? So you look at both. Obviously, you have to consider what the price of Bitcoin's doing, but if they're both moving up, you got to see which one's moving up faster, right? That's kind of just the relative movement here. So NEM's looking good from this perspective, right? You're looking at the price action here. It looks good. You know, we were hitting new highs here recently before the big pullback, so 32 cents, kind of pulling in a little bit. So if we zoom in on the BTC chart, it's pretty much been flat right here, which means it's just kind of holding par with Bitcoin, right? So you're seeing this, Bitcoin goes up, the price of NEM goes up, Bitcoin goes down, vice versa. So it's kind of holding par in this little bit of a range right now. Not really outperforming yet, but I think it's one to keep an eye on. I mean, they've got a lot of stuff in the works on the project, you know, and just as long as this trend holds, doesn't break below that, if you want to be in NEM versus Bitcoin, I think that's okay to do right here. So, you know, this little trend that I'm looking at here, as long as that holds, you want to be, you'll be all right on NEM. But as far as recent setups and breakouts and all that fun stuff, not really much to do on that one at the moment. All right, Dash. Let's go to Dash. Dash has had quite the move as of late. Let's go to Dash here. So after breaking out of this big base around 200 or so, had this huge move. And again, here's another one that, just like I was talking about on Litecoin, right? Dash had that big breakout and pretty much went up, right? Look at 25%. Dash went all the way to 260, 250. Then it pulled back, and it pulled back hard. A lot of volume showed up on that pullback. Was a negative sign at first, but it held right at the 10 EMA. So, you know, if you were a believer in the breakout, if you were a believer in the project, you know, that's a entry level that you can take a little look at it and look at the volume on that, right? Sell volume on this day was very small versus the big breakout day. And then the next day, big pop and off to the races we were. And I mean, we went to 400 Dash. I got to admit, I was surprised. I mean, that was a huge move for Dash, especially coming off of a base at 200. So looking good. Right now, it looks like it's just consolidating that move. I mean, it pretty much just doubled in a couple of weeks here. So has had to consolidate some of that. And that's what it's doing right now. If if I was holding it, if you bought that breakout, you know, I wouldn't necessarily sell it. Big support bar came in right here when Dash pulled all the way back to 279. Look at that volume. So looking pretty good. But just kind of consolidating, setting up here a little bit. Let's see here. Monero. All right, Monero. Let's go easy, Monero. So pretty much followed Dash's footsteps, right? I mean, you saw that big move, and these were almost at the same time, these two big moves that they were happening here. So we saw that, and same thing. Monero went from $50 to 150. So huge move, pretty much, you know, a triple at that point. Since pulled back, but volume on the pullback's not bad. I mean, you're still seeing some big buys coming in here, and so good volume, good actions, just consolidating here. Held that 30 EMA on that pullback, so that's good news. Let's see what it looks like on the 4-hour chart. Looks like, you know, it's kind of testing this right here. It's kind of consolidating. Looks like it might want to have another leg up. And so the level I'd be looking at here really is, you know, if you can get above this 50, declining 50 moving average, that'd be your first sign. And then the next big test is going to be right around here. You know, this, let's call it 126 to 127 area, that little zone there. If you can get above that, you'll see another leg up and possibly retest those old highs at 150 and go from there. So I'm liking Monero. Looks good. No complaints on this one. You're not going to want to see a little bit of a break of this recent trend here, this 112, and certainly not a close below this, you know, 96 area there from recent days. Iota, man, did you guys see Iota? What a hit it took on that correction. Wow. So let's zoom out here. I mean, look at this. So you guys remember I was talking Iota down here during this little breakout right as the whole fork day started, and after that it had a beautiful run. I mean, one of the cleanest uptrending charts I had seen in a long time. And, you know, I admittedly got out probably a little early. I was out around, you know, the 70-80 mark, and I thought it was just due for a pause. Started showing some sell signals here. And during this pullback, I mean, look at that. All the way down to 36 cents. Now, granted, that was a little flash crash and back up, but wow, 36 cents. I mean, we were over $1 here, and big pullback. But look at that volume, though, just massive volume. So somebody bought a ton of Iota. Pretty good deal. So looking at near term here, you know, it's having some trouble kind of reclaiming some of this declining moving average right now. So I'm not saying it's going to retest these lows, but I don't think it's ready yet. I think it's still consolidating some of that move. Still looking weak compared to some of the others. You know, if we look at Iota versus BTC, same thing, right? It's bouncing, hits this moving average, pulling in, and on the sell side, you're starting to see some volume come in here. So not what you want to see. Now, it could be doing a little bit of an inverted head and shoulders on the 4-hour chart, maybe, right? So you're seeing this low put in right here, the big low put in right there, and then now it could be forming a little bit of a low here. If it starts to move up to the right side here again, that's going to be a good sign. I'd be looking at that, but really my signal, the early signal to maybe buy or get in on that is going to be a break of that neckline right around there. I would just wait until I saw that formation take place, you know, and that's still a good 18+%, 20% from where we're at now. But I'd rather just wait and see the formation take place. Now, I know a lot of you guys like the project. You're a big believer in Iota and what they have to offer. Then yeah, you might want to be looking at picking it up here at these low prices. So personally, I'm just going to wait. I've got my funds allocated in other places at the moment, so I'll be waiting on this. But you know, not too bad, especially after this big support, looking good. So just keep an eye on this. You're not going to want to see this break down too much more here. All right, let's see here. Ethereum Classic. You know, this one looked like it was going to move here. Let's see here. Ethereum Classic. Right. So this is the 4-hour of Ethereum Classic. We had this very nice upside. Tons of bullish volume came in. And I mean, just, you don't like to see these fake, not fake, but these failed breakouts, right? You see these big volume, huge, and then just gives it all back. And that's I understand there was a little mini crash there, but not everything gave it all back. And so that's typically a red flag for me. I was hoping that this was it. Now, seeing where it stopped, right? It's holding these moving averages. It came right back to that breakout point, and it's holding it. So that's a good sign. Looks like it wants to start moving up here again. Every little pullback is being supported right now. So I'd be cautious. I like the pattern here personally. I think it's a good setup. You're seeing this big base. You saw the little pop, pretty much tested the old highs, came right back in. So if we can see it start to move up to the right side here, this might be a breakout on a longer term base here around, $22 to $23 or so. And if that breaks out, I mean, after a big consolidation like this, it's been consolidating since mid-May. I mean, look at this. This was the peak back here and has just been pretty much flat to down since then. So if it breaks out from a base that big, it's going to have a big run. So I definitely would be watching this one. I'm not in it. I was doing some little trading here and there, but I am watching this one. So you guys should be keeping this one on your radar. Neo. All right, if you guys are just joining, we covered Neo already, so sorry. Gonna keep moving here. OmiseGo. All right, OmiseGo. You guys know I like OmiseGo. It's been one of my favorites in recent weeks, and I still think it looks great. So check out this chart. I mean, very few charts look this clean, this nice, just following that 10 EMA, moving up. During this pullback, it was a little scary. Look how far back it went, down to 730 or so. The big breakout we saw a few weeks, or probably a week and a half now, was this really tight consolidation here. I started picking a bunch up there, adding to my position on this. And sure enough, we saw this breakout, hit that $12, $13 mark. That was my initial targets. Admittedly, I didn't sell and started to pull back. And we saw this big break, saw the nice reversal. So that's a good sign. Still holding my OmiseGo. Looks like we're breaking out to new highs now. It's been a little volatile as of late, but not too bad. Just up, down, marching along. I'm liking it here. You guys know I've been talking about it for, I think the first tweet I mentioned on it was when it broke out at $3. I mean, I think it was, it was probably back here when we saw this little breakout. So has been doing pretty good for a while. I'm liking it still. I'm holding it. And, until you start to see a big reversal of this downtrend, of this uptrend, I think it's a hold. Now, one thing I'm noticing is the RSI here on this recent new high is not as high. So that's a little bit of a bearish divergence. And if you're not familiar with that, what you typically want to see, you had this big run up, very strong. And look at the RSI was, hitting new highs here. And since then, we've seen a little bit of a decline in the strength there. And so I make note of that. A little bit of a red flag. So just one to keep an eye on, right? What tends to happen when you see that is you end up making another big push to a new high, but the strength is not really there. More sellers start to show up, and then that could be it for a little bit, and then it has to consolidate. But not saying that's going to happen. I just would like to see a little bit more strength on this recent pop to the upside. But, if you go back to the daily chart, I mean, that's just very nice, very clean. The moving averages are still way down here just because it's such a younger trading issue here, but no complaints on Omise. I'm holding it for now. Someone in the comments said I bought OmiseGo at $3 because of you. Awesome. I love to hear that. That's great. I'm glad you guys are paying attention. You guys are watching the signals, and keep going, guys. So let's see here. Appreciate all the comments. I'm going to go to some of the comments here. Try to keep up with you guys. Let's see what we got here. Pivx, a lot of Pivx questions. I'll cover Pivx, Verge. Let's see here. 8X. Yeah, I was trading 8X. 8X was looking good. All right. 8X has been a volatile one, though. Talk more on OmiseGo so we can go up. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how much talking I can make the price pop. But let's see. Dash. We covered that. Okay, what do we got here? Bcash. Someone's waiting for Bcash to pop. Notice straight savage. I love you guys. All right. Okay. I think I'm good on the comments. Let's keep going. going. Who is next on my list here? Oh, boom, 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 boom. Where we at? Neo, OmiseGo, BitConnect. Not talking BitConnect. Quantum. Let's talk Quantum. For those of you guys that are in BitConnect, no offense. I'm not into it. I'm not talking it. Qtum. All right, so talking Qtum here. So I've been liking the bottoming action it's been putting in. It's had some pretty good pullbacks here as of late. It was a high flyer here in recent weeks, has since been consolidating, but I'm liking the support it's been getting here in recent action, recent days. Now it's a little bit volatile, not as strong as some of the others, right? Not as strong as like OmiseGo, but I think it's worth looking at the moment. So this little level has seen a lot of buyers coming in, a lot of support. Look at these long wicks on the candles here. So I'm going to zoom out a little bit. So you can see these, they try to sell it off, and a lot of buyers just step in here at these lows. That's a good sign. So at least you know that there's some support coming in here. On the daily, it's still below this moving average, but it's right there. It looks like it wants to start poking above. So let's zoom in a little bit here. Just in the last day, just big volume move to the upside, and I'm liking it. Just looking really strong. On any pullback to this 10 EMA, I may be adding some more on that, maybe picking up a little trade entry here. So I'm liking this. You're going to see some, some resistance right around here. We're not too far from there, and then if we can get above that, the next level is going to be right around, that 387, 390 Satoshi level, just sub 400,000 there. So those are the levels I'm looking at. I know there's a lot of debate about the founder and his projects and all that. Technically speaking, there's a lot of good cases for it as well, right? I mean, just as a platform and all that. So I like the volume. I think you guys should be watching it if you're in it. If you've held this low, that was a pretty good low. And once we cleared this little consolidation area, which we just did today, I think it's buyable here, in my opinion. Lisk. Let's talk Lisk. Let's see here. Did I cover Ethereum? I did cover Ethereum. I might take a look at it again. But let's see here. Got to keep moving down the list here. Chaincoin. Somebody said Chaincoin. Oh, man. You poor Chaincoin holders. HODL. Advanced HODL technology, right? All right. Enough hating on the Chaincoin. Oh, I don't even want to talk about Chaincoin. I vowed never to even mention it on my channel. All right, moving on. Lisk. So I talked Lisk, and I'm liking Lisk. I mean, this consolidation it had after that big run-up is looking pretty good here. So let me go to the daily charts and show you guys, right? So we had this big consolidation, and it's pretty rare to see these like straight up the right side type of moves. Normally they come up, they bounce around, they pull back, and they kind of form a little shape like that. But this is, straight down, and then in one day just undid a lot of that and just kept going. Had a big move up, and now it's consolidating. So as long as it starts to hold this little pattern here, I think it's one to look at. I'm liking it. Yeah, let me go here. This is the level that I'm looking at, which is right there now. And then, these little wicks, there's a lot of selling showing up here. But all in all, it's looking pretty good. So I think it's still consolidating a little bit. So as long as it doesn't break down below, there's recent uptrend that it's doing, but it's just like stair stepping. You see that big volume, and it just pauses. Then you see big volume, and it just pauses. And I think once we get above these two levels here, you could see another little run on Lisk. So I'm liking it. I think it's potentially setting up for another breakout. And, admittedly, it's already had a big run. I mean, if you look at this, this percent gain off the lows, and I get it, that's straight off the lows. Nobody probably caught it straight off the lows unless you were writing it all the way down. But that's, 250% off the lows. And then if you had this big pullback, and if you look at, okay, maybe I would have bought it from the pullback, that's still 150% or so. So it's had a good run. It needs to consolidate a little bit, but could be setting up for another leg up. So one I'd be watching for sure. All right, I'm going to skip ahead. Since I'm talking Lisk, let's talk ARK. And so I was talking ARK in a recent video here. Again, smaller cap. What's the value of ARK right now? Let's see. ARK, it's moved up the list quite a bit, 258. So that's not bad. And right now it's putting in a similar pattern to Lisk, right? It's kind of had this run, very big run in recent weeks, and just consolidating here and finding some support along this moving 10 EMA to the upside. So that's a good sign. Now, we've seen some selling and some profit taken here recently, but volume it's not really that bad. I mean, look at the volume on the daily. It's just, you know, not even above average compared to these two big days. So let's zoom in a little bit here on ARC. This is the 4 hour. Again, you see these long wicks, and that's the problem with these smaller cap names. So on the comments, I'm seeing a lot of these smaller cap names. They may be good trades from a percent basis, and especially if you're a long-term holder, then yeah, because any money comes into these and it's just going to move them like crazy. But the problem is, you know, if you use stops or if you're doing that kind of discipline, I mean, just look at how wide a daily bar on one of these is, right? I mean, that's the 13% daily swing, and that's normal for this. I mean, just look at all these long wicks. So unless you buy at these lows of the day, you got to be willing to give it a lot of room, right? You got to be able to give it some big wiggle up and down, plus or minus 10% at least. And not everyone is willing to do that. So just keep that in mind. You know, if you're holding these, and if you go down 5%, you probably shouldn't panic, because that's just another normal fluctuation in the daily price, right? Up or down 5% for Bitcoin, on the other hand, is huge, right? I mean, Bitcoin goes down 5%, the altcoin's going to drop 15%. And so you just have to factor all that in. And so that makes it a little tough to hold some of these. You got to buy them either on these dips or on the pullbacks, or right on the breakouts, and try to ride it for as much as you can. So on this one, if it can close above, you know, this recent level here, that's the level I'd be looking at on ARC. And, you know, there's going to be some sellers showing up here, but gotta hodl, gotta hold those. All right, let's keep going. Where are we at here? How much time have we got? Okay, not quite at an hour yet. We'll give it some more time here. Lisk, I'll skip this one. Just doesn't trade in enough exchanges. Stratis, let's talk Stratis. What's going on with Stratis? Nexus, I see those little symbols, Nexus. And that was, you know, the Nexus guys are local here, and they were telling me to buy Nexus at 40 cents. And I didn't. Missed that one. Nothing against Nexus. I was just buying other stuff. All right, so here's Stratis, right? So Stratis, you know, the long story short, just not happening yet. Stratis just not happening. I was hoping it would have. It looked like, you know, here in early July, it was starting to pop and was doing good. Failed right at that 50 and then pulled back. Okay, higher low, that's good. Moved up, and it was just, we saw almost like a little bit of a breakout, right? I was pointing this out in my newsletter. I was liking this setup. It was putting in this nice little base, you know, and you could see this little ascending higher low pattern forming, and I was thinking, this is good. And then look at what happened. I mean, massive volume, was a clear breakout, but then it just failed miserably, and then within a couple of days just really collapsed. Like I said, when you see those big failed breakouts, I'm okay with a breakout and then a pullback, but a big breakout, fail, and then the next day just a big down day, that's a get out of the way signal for me. I just won't chance those, and I'd rather just wait for it to recover or go back up. And sure enough, I mean, since then, down big, and on any rally, you see this big volume, it's green, but that's all sellers. I mean, when it starts to rally, a lot of sellers just tend to show up right now. And so really not a whole lot to do on Stratis. It's underperforming Bitcoin, and has been. Now, a bright spot here is, look at the lows. It's found a lot of support here, and it's pretty much sitting right there. And so what you'd want to see is this low to hold and maybe start to move up the right side. And if we can start to see that, then, you know, triple bottom here is probably a good sign that that was the low, and we'll start to see some more rally. But the big test is going to be right here. And so it could set up for a decent trade if it starts to bottom here. You know, that's going to be, I mean, look at just to that old point of 80%. That's huge. But I'm going to wait for a signal before I do anything like that. So just, if you're in it, would I sell it here? Probably not. If you've already ridden it all the way down and you're still holding it, you might as well just wait to see if it holds its support. And if it could, you know, start rallying, we'll see where it goes. But you're just going to be met with a lot of resistance along the way. All right, let's see here. I am at number 20, so I'm going to go to the comments and skip around here. So let's see. Zcash. Let's do Zcash. Liking Zcash, by the way. So let's see here. Zcash. So this is what the good and the bad, right? So I was looking at Zcash here, and it was setting up, and it was looking really good. And I was thinking, okay, close above this 286, 287 mark is going to be my signal, especially after this big run up. You know, I was kind of doing some trading of Zcash here, but I wasn't sure if it was a sustained move yet. But after I saw a couple legs up, then this consolidation, I was thinking, okay, this is probably going to be a good move up and maybe test out some new highs. And sure enough, I picked some Zcash up on this breakout. And then we saw that big sell-off in Bitcoin over that one night. And when Zcash hit 270, that was my out. That was my personal stop on that. So that was just below here. And sure enough, I got out. And I was really surprised to see Zcash, how far Zcash went. I mean, Zcash went all the way down to 197 again. So since then, we're moving up, you know, and volume has been pretty decent on this, but it's kind of pausing here. So I think that was the low on Zcash. It's looking good on the upside, but again, it's going to face a lot of resistance. Probably not my top pick right now. If you pick some up here, awesome, congrats. I'm going to just wait, just because it's not really a pattern. This is kind of just a bounce off of the huge sell-off, and it's just hard to do anything with that other than maybe some shorter-term trades. Not my style, not a clear breakouts per se, but the only thing I like here is, you know, look at the 50-day moving average held there, huge support, so that's looking good. If we can get above this, you know, this what is that, 250 and then 260, 270 area, it'll be looking good. This is going to be the big test though. Can we get above that 300 zone again? That was just a big break. A lot of technical damage done to the chart there. All right, let's talk TenX. What this one's looking like. So let me go to this one here, to USDT on the Liqui exchange. And so the good and the bad, right? So again, I know I sound like a broken record, and it's amazing how often this happens, but they pause right at these key moving averages. And so we're seeing it there. Some good good support came in here, but it hasn't really had a whole lot of follow through yet. So not doing anything with this one yet. You guys know I was in this one here right around the, where was it here? During this little consolidation here, and my signal was that $4 break. It did, and it went up. And on the downside, my stop was right around $4. It was holding it for a while, but finally gave it up. So I got out of the way, and I'm not in it at the moment. But as far as the project goes, I like the project. I think it's got a lot of potential. I think this is just a normal consolidation in the course of the longer term scheme of things. So I think you guys should be paying attention to TenX. Of the token type cards, right? Token, TenX, Monaco, all those. TenX is probably my favorite of the projects. So I hope they do well. I hope they succeed. But, you know, chart-wise, it's not really broken this downtrend yet. Still looking a little weak. So until this little trend can break, probably not buyable yet, in my opinion. And you're going to really want to see this level hold here. So that's TenX. Let's do Civic. See what we got on Civic. What happened to my music here? All right. Let me zoom in a little bit. Let me go to a different exchange. So Civic, again, same thing, just kind of had huge run up, and then since then just pretty much been selling off. Probably nothing to do again. So the level I'm always watching is this moving average, right? The 10 EMA. And notice how many times it tries to get above, and every time it does, it just keeps selling off. Look at all those wicks. Just sell, 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 sell. Big support bar here, but not a lot of volume came in on that support bar. So not a good sign. I'd like to see more volume on those support bars. So until I see this reverse here, I probably wouldn't be buying any more of Civic or anything like that. But the good news is this low down here corresponds with this big breakout candle. And so that's a ton of support there. But just like TenX, just wait for this downtrend to break, wait for it to set up. You got to remember, and I talked about this in my course, technical analysis, and when you're buying some of these, it'll help you with your timing. And you're not always after the best price. And I know that's hard to understand, but you're after the best time, right? And so I really don't care to buy it all the way down here if it's just going to sit tight and do nothing for a couple of weeks when there's something else that's setting up and looking to break out. Now, if it starts to set up here and looks like it's putting in a little bit of a pattern and breaks out, then that's the best time to get in, even if you're paying a higher price, because then you're going to be in this move while it's happening. And so that's what you want to do. And I'm talking more from a trading perspective. If you're a long-term believer in the project and you want to hold this, then yeah, at that point, you're trying to accumulate little by little at the best price, and that makes sense. But I just like to pick my entries. I like to be a little more surgical about when I get in and at what point, right? So Monaco, I didn't cover Monaco. Let's look at that one. Well, this one was offering a lot of good trading opportunities. You know, we had this big pop down here, then a big pop down here. And these, I mean, these moves were like 100% moves. So good trading. Had this little bit of a setup and then a big rally to the upside. And then it just really fizzled out and just a ton of selling came in. And so that was very bearish. I think a lot of the holders gave out there. There was a lot of traders that were, you know, writing this up, and they took a lot of profit here. So a lot of damage was done, technically speaking. So what I'd be doing is I'd be waiting, because it, you know, on a daily charts, it's a little bearish, right? You see this little shoulder here, then the big pop, big sell. The rally to the right side was pretty weak. Now it looks like it might be breaking down, potentially a head and shoulders pattern on the daily. And so if it breaks below this neckline, that's not going to be good news, because there's not really a whole lot of support below that. So you know, you could drop another pretty big percent wise. Let's see here. You know, you could drop 30%, maybe even further at that point. So personally, I would just be waiting on this one. On the upside, if you can start to close above this recent, you know, 276, 280 or so level, that'd be a good sign. If you can get above these highs, that'll kind of negate that pattern. But that's kind of the levels I'm looking at on Monaco. Again, smaller name, but tends to be a little bit more volatile on some of these trades. Makes for some good trading, though, that's for sure. Let's see here. Golem. Look at Golem. A little bit of a reversal today. Look at that volume. Yeesh. So I had the breakout, big pop, then just a ton of selling came in. So potentially a failed breakout. We're going to see how it holds here, but you know, that's just not what you want to see typically. I was liking the bottoming action. I was really seeing this, and then I saw the big breakout, and then just a little bit of a reversal coming in here. So if we zoom in, you know, you've seen all this selling right here. Just look at all those long wicks here. I mean, this is, even if it starts to bounce here, that's going to be a huge level of resistance, just because we saw tons of sellers showing up at these levels. Even this green bar, you know, it's got the big long wick here, sellers, sellers, sellers. So just tons of selling happening right now on Golem. So I'd be cautious. If you bought the breakouts, you're not going to let it get below this, you know, this moving average here, which is just the recent low of a few hours ago. That's probably the absolute low. I'd let it go at this point. What you want to see typically is a little bit of a pullback and then a move off these moving averages. So just be cautious on this one for now, guys. You know, it looks like this is a good low, though. I mean, on the longer term chart, I'm thinking I like this low pattern it's putting in here. It's just a lot of volume. And, you know, you got to remember, if there's been holders writing this whole thing down, that's the challenge with buying these off the extreme lows, is you're going to see a lot of sellers all the way up. And sure enough, right, at this level, you saw sellers, right? And the next level, you'd see sellers is probably around here, then over here, then over here. So it just has a lot of hurdles to climb when you have a chart that's just gone like this for a long time. People have been waiting for it to recover so they can take some profit or break even and so forth. All right, here, let's see. We're talking metal. Metal pays me. So definitely looking good. I mean, metal has been looking really good here as of late. Again, one of the stronger looking charts out here, and just breaking out today. So this is a solid breakout. Nice little pattern here. Good volume. Again, not a bigger cap name. What's metal at right now? Let's see here. Ooh, I didn't think it was this far down. Where's metal? I'm going to do the search function here. Metal number 30, 268 million market cap. So looking pretty good. I'm liking metal, outperforming, definitely looking strong here. If you like it here, I'd be looking for a little bit of a pullback. Let's zoom in a little bit. You know, you're seeing some profit taking showing up here off this move. So at least a little pause or a pullback. Really, I mean, the setup was really over the last couple of days, right? You see this pattern, you see it approach the old highs here, and it just puts in this little handle right below the old highs. And what you're waiting for after that is a break of this handle. And sure enough, you see it, and the volume there is just solid. Good conviction on that volume. And that's your signal. It's usually, that's your signal that it's breaking out. And at that point, you just want to hodl these things. Or, you know, if you're a trader and you have your profit targets, then, you know, you're looking at that. And that's what a lot of people do, right? It went up 19%. They'll take profits, but looking good, guys. You know, longer term, yeah, it could be an undervalued project. Longer term, setting up. This is just a nice base, nice breakout. Look like the run is going to continue for a little bit here, barring any crazy market action. Definitely looking good on metal. Doge. Oh man, Doge. You know, I don't follow Doge, guys. I know you guys were asking me about Doge. I'm gonna skip it. Sorry. No offense to the Doge folks. No offense at all. Let's see here. Get into some of these smaller cap names. Mystique. All right, Mystique. Versus Bitcoin, not looking good. Still declining here. I mean, look at this is the daily chart. So yeah, I mean, how big are these bars? Man, 17, 20%. Yeah, that's tough. Could be bottoming out here if it holds these levels here. I mean, you're starting to see some support bars coming in, these longer tails to the downside as opposed to the upside. But I don't know. Just doesn't look strong. I don't know. I wouldn't be in this one personally. Oh, let's see here. I talk about all these crap coins and not Doge. Man, you guys with your Doge. Let me see. Where's the Doge chart? Why do you guys like Doge so much? I just want to know that. What is it about it? I don't know. Volume, I mean, it's looking good. I mean, you know, this is versus CNY, but I don't know. It's just hard to say. I mean, there's some lows here. This is a good low. This is a good low. I'm not personally into it. I'm not touching it. Let's see what else. Iota. I already talked to Iota, folks. I talked let's see, Pivx. Let's talk Pivx. Pivx, man, versus the dollar. What's Pivx at now? Like $3-4? Oh, Pivx. All these quote unquote privacy coins, anonymous coins, have been having quite the run lately. Let's see here. Yeah, $4. Looking good on Pivx. Oh, nice little rally here to the upside on the right side. I mean, just strong volume. I mean, if you're in Pivx, if you've been holding this for a while, looking good versus BTC, still strong, outperforming. No complaints on Pivx. I'm liking it. It's looking good. All right, here, a couple more. We've been going for an hour now. KMD, you know, there's some news coming on KMD. You know, a lot of you guys asked me, should I buy it? Very typical, guys. Buy the rumor, sell the news. When the news comes out, it's very often you see the selling coming in. So just be careful with these. It has been very strong. I know there's announcements coming out. Very nice, very strong move to the upside. But if it's news driven, you just got to be real cautious because a lot of times they'll just sell it right off after the news. So just be careful with those, guys. If you're in it, I mean, it doesn't hurt to take profits from time to time and then just let it set up for another, you know, another run somewhere else. Ubik, you know, I was really liking Ubik. I was hoping they would do some more here. I'm liking this little pattern it's putting in, though. You know, it's coming in. A lot of volume showed up on the right side, which is what you want to see. And then another more volume coming in. So it's actually looking really good here. I'm liking this little setup that it's putting in here. If you start to see it move above this recent consolidation here, you could see another run on Ubik because that was really resistance off of these lows here. You're seeing the resistance there. So that'd be the area I'm watching on Ubik. If you see Ubik pop above that, we'll probably see a test to the upside here on the old highs at least. And, from that point up, that's a good 42%. So could offer for a good run on Ubik. All right, I'm going to have to cut it short here, guys. Let's see what else we got. Oh, let's see here. Let me go back to here real quick. EOS. Should I cover EOS? Talk TenX. Talked ARC. Talked Pivix. Let's do this. Who else has been hot the last couple of days that actually has some volume? This has a lot of volume. I know it does. Gas. Man, gas has really had a run. Talk to Qtum. Storage. Monita. Hey, guys. Monita. It's a newer one. Let's see here. District 0x. Picker on that 0x here. ZRX, right? Where are we at? Why can't I find it, guys? ZRX. Somebody help me out here. All right. There it is. Okay. So let me zoom in a little bit. Not a lot of history on this one time-wise, but it looks like it's finally putting in a good low. Very nice. Very strong. So what you want to do here is when you see these big bottoms and, you don't want to chase them per se. So when you see these big green candles, just wait for a pullback. And that's exactly what it's doing. Look at the volume coming down to the downside here. And looks like it's holding. So looking nice. Might want to pick it up on the pullback if you like it and look for a little run there. All right, gonna have to wrap it up here, guys. A couple more. I like these live streams. I might have to do a couple more of these here soon. So nav, looking good, guys. Nav. So setting up. No signals yet, but definitely being accumulated here. Nice ascending triangle pattern. Very clean, very nice, good volume patterns. And so one to definitely watch. Breakout level is right here clearly. So that's the level I'm looking at. If you see a break above that, especially if you see some volume coming in like right here, that's a good move. And what tends to happen with these is they have this nice big run. They let these moving averages catch up. And right as the moving averages start to converge is when you'll see that little pop. And so definitely keep an eye on this one, guys. Pretty good. NAV. Okay. I'm going to have to wrap it up. Let's see what else we got. BAT. Status. I won't cover it, but I was looking at it. Probably nothing to do on that one yet. Let me see here. Like basic attention is going on a lot of wallets. Exit's adding it. Jax is adding it. So it's coming along. Let's get the daily chart here. Just kind of consolidating right now. It's very volatile though. Like I said, these are just tough to trade, especially with these long tails and long bars everywhere. So, okay, guys, that's going to be it. Appreciate everybody joining. Love having these conversations. I will be doing some more of these in the future. Going to be doing some more live streams and scheduling these. So appreciate you guys hanging. Appreciate all the views and all the comments on the videos. Keep you guys posted. Till next time, guys. Take care.